I want you to watch this clip of a young Iraqi who has decided he wants to speak up in support of Israel. Here's his video, and then I'm going to show you a second video where he's spoken about Iran's genocidal calls. Have a watch.
Shalom everyone. My name is Hayder and I'm from Iraq. I'm neither a Jew or Israeli. And this is my message to the silent world, so please listen to it and spread it. October 7 massacre by Hamas terrorists were the deadliest attack against innocent Jews since the Holocaust. It took the lives of over 1,200 innocent Jews and injured thousands of others, including kidnapping of 240 with baby Kafir included, who is until now is in the captivity of these terrorists. And since then, thousands of rockets and drones have been launched at Israel by these terrorists on the water side. But hold on, this is not enough. The Iranian regime-backed Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon launched thousands of missiles and drones targeting northern Israel, which led to the relocation, flee of thousands of innocent Israelis from their homes, work, and school since then. And the latest example of this were the attack of Majd al-Shams by these Hezbollah terrorists, which led to the murder of over 12 innocent children between 10 and 11 years old. And since that time, thousands of rockets and drones had been launched by another Iranian regime-backed terrorist, this time as the Houthis in Yemen, targeting Israel. And the latest example of that were the attack on the economic capital of Israel, Tel Aviv. As this is not enough, Iranian regime itself, they launched over 350 missiles and rockets targeting Israel in April. If it weren't for the heroism of the IDF and its allies, who knows how many will be dead in Israel. And today, this will lead us to today where the Iranian regime and its militias all gathering and coordinating an attack which didn't happen yet, and all their missiles and drones are currently pointing towards the world's only Jewish country, and they are waiting for the right time that the Iranian regime will give to launch all of these missiles and drones targeting Israel. So it's time for the war to break the silence, to bring back the hostages, to defend Israel, and to say stop Iran. So please support Israel and spread the war and defend the only democracy in our region.
And now I want to show you a second clip of this great guy talking about Iran and how they've said they're going to attack Israel in the aftermath of the sensational elimination of Ismail Haniyeh, the evil Hamas terror chief, inside of Tehran itself, the capital of Iran. It was just absolutely remarkable. But he's now sending a message to Iran, standing up for the Jewish people and Israel in response to them saying that they're going to attack Israel. Have a watch.
To those who are trying to scare my Jewish cousins into leaving Tel Aviv due to the possible Iranian regime attack, I want you to remember that the Jewish people, with their over 3,500 years of Jewish history in these Jewish lands, have faced and withstand countless empires that tried to erase the Jewish identity and have prevailed. So not the terror regime in Tehran and a couple of barbarians can scare my Jewish cousins. Israel is here to remain, and my Jewish cousins have nowhere to go. I'm sorry.
This is great. This is someone who, by the way, he describes himself as an atheist and ex-Muslim. And yet, here he is saying that the Jewish people are not going to go anywhere because they've had 3,500 years of survival against all the odds. First thing I want to say, obviously, is great thank you to someone like him, and it's great to see that, and it's really helpful for us to understand that it is not inevitable that the world, especially in the Middle East, are going to always inevitably be hostile to the Jewish people. People can change. Look at Mossab Hassan Youssef. Look at Loe al-Sharif, raised in a diet of hatred, and yet they've changed their views. But what I just want to pick up on something that's notable and interesting is that where does he get this confidence that the Jewish people and Israel are going to be okay? He points to 3,500 years of survival, really 4,000 years, against all the odds, when nations and empires have risen up trying to destroy them. The truth is that yes, the Jewish people will always be here, but he needs to just go a little bit further, and the reason is actually because they have a divine destiny. Because you cannot look at Jewish history or even Israel's survival and not acknowledge that there is a supernatural force at work. Even David Ben-Gurion, also a secularist, who was the first prime minister of Israel, one of the founders of the State of Israel and early Zionists, who said, in Israel, as a Jew, to be a realist, you have to believe in miracles. And so that's one little key part of the equation that is missing here and is worth mentioning. The Jewish people, for most of our history, have been scattered throughout the world, unlike any other nation I can think of. Nations typically have a common land, language, and culture. We've been scattered throughout the world, intensely persecuted. Think of all the words used to describe the history of anti-Semitism: pogrom, ghetto, blood libel, Inquisition, Holocaust. And then you also have an intensity and irrationality to that persecution. We hate Jews because they're communists, because they're capitalists, because they're religious and different, because they're secularists and communists. We hate Jews because they are too different from us. We hate Jews because they're trying to become like us. We hate Jews because they are parasites on our state. We hate Jews because they created their own state, because they killed Jesus, because they created Jesus, rich, poor. And so you have this intense persecution done by all these other nations and empires, which, by the way, have come and gone, while the Jews remain. Jews have been few in number throughout most of their history. 15 million, that's nothing. I mean, we were a similar in size population to the Chinese thousands of years ago. Today they number over 1 billion. The Jews still bobbling at around 15 million. And then on top of that, the Jews have dramatically transformed the world's values. The whole world seems to be having their magnifying glass on the Jews, where we're just this tiny people with this tiny sliver of land. And yet most of the world today worships the God of Abraham through the monotheistic offshoots, the children of Judaism. And then you have this remarkable relationship with the land of Israel, where the Jews lived in the land 2,000 years ago. It was flourishing, it bloomed. We know this from archaeological evidence. And then scattered, and the land was desolate for so long. And then they return to the land, and the land flourishes again. This is a remarkable story, all clearly foretold and prophesied in the Torah. So yes, the Jews will be all right, and yes, he is on the right side of history. But what gives him that confidence? How was it that this remarkable tale occurred? For me, what grounds me in my security and knowledge that things are going to be not just good, but great, that the truth will prevail, is that I can see very clearly the divine hand throughout all of Jewish history. As part of the Jewish people's divine mission to become the emissary of God's voice to the world, which is what the Jewish people were charged to do at Mount Sinai. By the way, everyone has particular missions and roles in this world. This just happens to be the role and mission of the Jewish people. But part of the way we manifest that mission is simply through our incredible story of survival against all the odds, of transforming the world's values against all the odds, of having such a challenging existence and yet still coming through and thriving. And Israel, the state of Israel, in many ways embodies that story, having arisen amidst the ashes of the Holocaust. But it's part of our very existence and history itself that we reveal God and God's voice to the entire world. We see how he cares for the vulnerable and the downtrodden, for the little person. He is a God of, many other religions speak of God as his greatness and his eternity, and actually what Judaism brings is we see God's smallness, his sensitivity, his desire to come down to earth and care and empathize with every single individual and desire a relationship with every individual. So be in no doubt, the future is bright, the future is the truth, and though we may see a sea of chaos, that's only temporary. Things are going to change.
Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.